Hey guys, welcome back. I'm just doing another quick live stream this weekend. I thought I'd take the time to get another one in. This one is outside the ES335. I'm setting up to do another guitar neck. Well, I just finished up a guitar neck. I've got a great video for it. I got to do some voiceover for it, but I'm going to be doing that right after this. But as I was setting up for this neck, I thought I'd go through my process for doing stock setup, drawings, and how I get everything set up, right? It's not just taking ye old thumb drive, popping G-code onto it, and running out to the machine. The CNC machine is very particular about stock size, and especially if you're doing two-sided parts like necks that have to have perfectly matched geometry, you really need to plan out how you're going to do all of this. So I'm going to go through my process. A couple of things that I like to do, I'll just go through what I'm doing here. A couple of things that I like to do is I like to actually have a physical part to measure. Like this is a StewMac part, right? This is the spoke nut truss rod. This is the base length one. And they have good drawings on there, but I have been fooled by them before. So having the actual part that you're going to put in there to measure is huge, right? It'll save you a ton of trouble. Then when we get into metrology, you've got your basic tape measure, and I use this. This is an old tape measure that I inherited from my grandfather. It has imperial and engineering scale. I really love this thing. You see me using it all the time in videos. But then the tool that I've really gone to for accurately measuring things. Most of you guys are out there using a digital micrometer or a digital caliper. I use a caliper, but I use this vernier scale caliper. I'm able to do the same accuracy. I go to 1/1000th of an inch on this. I've got metric and imperial on here, and it's a little, once you know how to use the scale, it's very good. But what this has that a lot of tools, especially your digital calipers have, is this fine adjustment wheel, right? So I can apply pressure to the part that I want, and not with my thumb like you would be doing with a digital caliper. And so I can get a kind of a consistency, and that's really important in wood because it's a material that gives. And then the way I generally use this is I use it as a go-no-go gauge, right? So I'll set up a dimension, and when I'm doing thicknessing stock, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to take my drawing. It's going to give me a dimension for stock. I'm going to set it on here. I'm going to use my fine adjustment thumb wheel to get the exactly right where the dimension that I want, and then I can run my stock through my thickness sander and just use this as a go-no-go gauge, and when it goes, I'm set. And that's been really predictable. I like to use that. Now the biggest tool, and not really even a tool, is I like to make a drawing. So I like to make a technical drawing. So working from a technical drawing really makes things a lot easier. When you have a question about the dimensions, you don't have to run into the computer or do that. You've got this drawing in front of you. You might see that as wasteful, but anyways, I like to have a drawing while I'm out in the shop working. So let's talk about how we do that drawing. Let's pop over here into Fusion. I've got a file here that I'm working on today, and what I would normally do is so I have the part. This is the part I'm going to cut, and then I've also created a body for the stock. Here, where I have it right here. So I've created this body for the stock as well, and it's the thickness, and it's got a little bit of extra dimension. And that really comes in handy because what we're going to do is we're going to go over here into the design, we're going to switch from design to drawing. And I'm going to do a drawing from design with visible only, and I want this to be 11 by 8.5. So it's going to come up with a lot of your stuff here. I'm just going to pop this in really quick because I don't really want any of this stuff. I don't, I'm not, this isn't going to anyone else. So what I like to do is go from the top view here, and I want to be this visible and hidden edges so I can see the whole thing. I'm going to scale this up a little bit. to 1 to 5. Yep, and that is what I want right there. And then I'm just going to right click, projected view, drop in a couple views. Let's move this a little bit better spot. And then I'm going to do drawing base view again. That's going to give me everything. But I want to go northwest isometric. I'm going to go here. And then I'm going to pop out all that other stuff that I don't need. This one also needs to be hidden edges. And let's scale that up quite a bit. Right there. So now we have a pretty good drawing to work from. Let's pop in some dimensions. So really the critical dimensions that I'm dealing with here is just the stock, right? So I just want to have like that. And that may not seem really all that important, but it's actually more important than you might think. So it's a very simple process. You can output this to a PDF file and then print the thing out. You can also just save it to your folder that you're working in so that you can open it and edit it. I don't generally keep editable versions. It's so quick and easy to make these drawings that it's just not an issue for me. So now that we have our drawing, let's go back to what I'm doing as far as the cam in this thing. So we'll go into manufacturing, and you see I've got the stock set up here, and I've got 3 setups so far. I don't have all the setups done, but so the first setup is here, and you can see that I've got my origin. I mean, some of you guys might be using easel or some of those other systems that are, absolute, I'm not sure what they call it anyways. But anyways, I like to indicate from a corner of my part. So I'm going to take this board and I'm going to thickness it. I'm going to cut it to maybe a little bit longer than this, but similar length. And then I'm going to joint this edge right here. So this is going to be a perfectly square edge because all of my indicating is going to be off this edge and this edge. And I'll just set up the machine and indicate off the bit for those 2 edges. And then the Z, I always set the Z at the top of my stock here, but I don't indicate off the top of the stock. I don't indicate off the top of the stock. I indicate off the bed of the machine. So I'll set the Z depth to the 0 here. I'll add just a tiny bit. Usually for me it's like 15 thousandths of an inch, and then I'll raise the Z up to, in this case, 0.75, and then re-zero it. So, well, and that depends. If I have a toolpath that's cutting all the way through the part, that's the way I'm going to do it. For these truss rod slots, I'll probably just indicate off of the top of the part, right? Because that's going to be fit in. And I'm just trying to reduce as much error as I possibly can. Like, there's no such thing as perfect, but I'm trying to get as close as I possibly can. So to get parts to fit, that's a good way to go. So I really just have, a couple tool paths here, some clearing, a scallop, and a bore. Very simple stuff here on the top. And then when I go to the second setup, which is going to be the back, you notice that my XYZ, my origin, is straight down. So I can indicate off the same points, right? So I will have a piece of MDF over here, and I will have surfaced it off with the machine, so I know that it's perfectly along this X plane. And then when I flip it, I'll flip it like this, over like this, and then I'll mount that same edge against my known good edge, and then I'll indicate from this point, which is the same point. And that seems to give me the least error of all of the methods I've tried. I've been very successful with this method, so it really works for me. And then, my back, I'm just going to do an outline. I like to do an outline and then a second outline with a higher step down. So what I'm doing here is I believe these are 1/10 of an inch step downs, and I've got 60,000 stock to leave. And then I do 2 sequential passes at 25, a 1/4 inch step down. And these are each 30 thousandths of an inch. So my final pass is, only taking a quarter of an inch by 30 thousandths of an inch. And that seems to work really well. Then I just have some stock removal here and a scallop, and there you go. It's done. I do have one final setup on this one because it has that spoke nut. And after we put the fretboard on this thing, then I'm going to come in here and mount it vertically in my machine with a jig to make sure that this is absolutely vertical. And then I'll do this little pocket here that cuts that slot for the spoke nut. But yeah, that's the process. It seems to work pretty good for me. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to hear them. Just wanted to hop on here really quick today and do another quick little live stream and go through that process. If you guys follow that process, I think it'll really help the way you're doing things. It really has made my accuracy just jump up a lot, and it's predictable and it really works. So thanks guys for watching. As always, check out the Patreon and please like and subscribe. And I did post another file for what was it? It was it's the A style F5 mandolins. A5, sorry, an A5 archtop mandolin. I posted the files on Patreon. There's no cam in there, right? So you're gonna have to do your own cam work. If you want to share that back with me, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see what you guys come up with. But yeah, there's tons of stuff there. Selmer guitar is in setup process. I'm doing setup work on that every day. It's very, very close. I'm hoping to be able to get that thing out here pretty soon. The violin is looking great as well, and we're going to be getting that one out soon too. Hopefully we'll get a sound sample tone final video on that one as well. But thanks for watching, guys. I got my G-code. I'm headed out to the machine. Well, I'm headed out to get this stock set up to my drawing, and then I will be cutting some more stuff today. So have a good one. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.